opportunity to greet our listeners as well.
Molweni, listeners from Eastern Cape. My name is Clifton. I'm from Johannesburg, and I'm happy to be on the show. Thank you.
All right. Clifton, I want us to start the conversation by giving you an opportunity for you to tell us a bit about yourself and also when you got into business and why you got into business.
Okay. My name is Clifton. I'm from Limpopo originally, but now residing in Johannesburg. I studied IT and later did my postgrad in IT auditing. And then after being with the city of Johannesburg for a few years, then I went into business. Right. So that's where I started the factories, the clothing manufacturing factories.
Then what's the connection between clothing manufacturing and IT? If you could just create a link for us there, because I don't know what the link is. I mean, in terms of your profession and what you've studied is IT. I'm asking because that's usually a very interesting point when someone actually presents the reasons why they decided to get into a specific space that might not necessarily be related to what they studied.
Okay. Luckily, when I was young, I was very much interested in a lot of things. I first owned a property company and later owned the factories. But the link is when you study IT, you get exposed to a lot of things. Everything is run by software. So basically, it's up to you to choose, where do you see opportunities and then what type of funds will they need in case you need to pursue those opportunities. So yeah, IT in our olden days, it had a lot of opportunities. I mean, you get employed in one company, you sort out a lot of problems for that company. So it was not difficult. I mean, manufacturing or most of the machines that we use now, it's software related.
Sure. So it aligns somehow.
Yes.
All right, you are the co-owner of Earlyworx 769. Please tell us a bit about the company and also the kind of services that you offer in it.
Okay, Earlyworx 69 manufactures like uniforms, specifically school uniforms, traffic uniforms. We do embroidery. We do sublimations, fabric sublimations. We do resell. We've got 2 shops that we sell school uniforms from. Yes. So
all right. All right. Thank you so much for that. And I wanted to also find out, how long have you been now in the manufacturing of uniforms, the space of actually doing the manufacturing of the uniforms for schools and for other, departments and institutions and places in the corporate space?
It's almost 19 years now.
So you've been running this business for 19 years, about 19 years.
19 years non-stop.
I do need to ask you then this question: how do you do it? Because a lot of people will, think about getting into business, and because of the challenges that come, because there is no business that does not face challenges, because of the challenges that come, they give up along the way. How did you hold the fort for 19 years?
Everything needs your personal energy. I mean, you need to have a drive. You need to have a mind. When I say you need to have a mind, you need to have the ability to be able to develop new things. You need to be able to identify problems in communities and come up with solutions. Remember, if your business is not linked to any community, the chances of pumping money into it and maybe dying at the same time, it's there. So you need to pump a lot of money, you need to pump a lot of energy. So yeah, unfortunately, when I do something, when I start to do something, I keep my focus on it.
And over the 19 years, what would you say has been the most difficult year? I don't know if you can remember and say, Ibona, this has been, I can still remember this. This was one of the most difficult years. Or you can also, speak to us about the flip side of that, where, you know what, this year was a great year because we got so many contracts or whatever. But I would like to, get a reflection from you, a practical first-hand experience type of a reflection that shows, the good and the bad, especially when you have been running a business like this one for such a long time.
Okay, running a business obviously is completely different from when you're employed. When you're employed, you're guaranteed your salary. When you're
Sure.
employed, you're guaranteed all sorts of things. So running a business, everything depends on you. So I can easily tell you that for the past 19 years, I've never been on holiday. That doesn't bother me.
Really?
I've got a business to build. And remember, I don't miss anything. I've never been on holiday. Whether
What do
I
you
come,
mean, Clifton? Like you don't take like a month off and say, you know what, I'm taking a month off. I'm just
month,
I need to breathe.
there's just so many changes in this life. A month. I mean,
It's
when
too
you come
long.
back after that month,
There will be
you've
no
got three
business.
neighbors that are doing the same thing. So yeah, but
Oh my
remember,
word.
because I see my business growing, that
Mm, you got that
doesn't even
drive.
irritate me. You know, each and every day I'm looking forward to my business, and because of I see the results.
Mm,
19 years for me is like yesterday.
wow.
So yeah, there's just so many things that people can do. It's just that a lot of time, because we told our emotions wouldn't be right. I need to go to Titicama, I need to go to Dubai, but well, with me it's different, you know
Mm,
yes, it's different. When I work, I work,
wow.
and I don't have a problem to work.
It's what drives you. I think, when you probably have gotten to a stage where you are one with the business, I guess, after 19 years, you're like, literally, the business is your life in a way. Hey?
Look, the business becomes your baby. You become a marketing person, you become an accountant, you become
Everything.
an operation manager, you become everything. And
Mm,
because of this thing, you learn voluntarily. It makes life easier. It's difficult when you see the business is not going anywhere. But in
okay.
my case, I'll give you an example. I started the schoolwear business.
Hmm.
Each and every year you'll get 2 extra schools.
Wow. So there's
You know,
growth.
yes,
Mm,
so there's growth. And then
mm,
each and every 2 years you'll try and bring new technology into business to make
mm,
sure that I need to bring things that are interesting to customers. You know,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to be able to solve problems in the community,
Mm,
more
mm.
especially our own community, understand? We've got so much problems, we're not even aware. We've got big problems. Let me tell you one
Mm,
thing.
mm,
So
mm.
for me to sit in my office for Maspala and get a nice paycheck, work for 2 hours, 3 hours, and those days were over, and I said, no, 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 I can't continue like this. Let me go and open a business. I need to be able to hire somebody. I need to
Sure.
be able to give somebody an opportunity, most
Mm,
especially somebody who doesn't have the next person to help him.
that's
So yeah, so you get new schools, and when you get into the schools, they start telling you that, look, we've been looking for somebody to provide us with school uniforms
mm.
or school sports
Okay.
uniform.
Yes.
you know yeah, so things open up.
Wow.
So each and every year since from 19 years, I've been getting 2 3 schools, and some of them I say no, because the capacity is going to end up being a problem.
Oh, do you
Yes.
at that point where you want to do like major expansion? Um,
You always want to do major expansion, but let me tell you what happens in business. Abantu abekho,
Workers, employees, people who want to work.
workers, everything. Even if you can say Clifton open a store in Komani,
Mhm.
uh, people are not. There are very few people who can be able to work. People don't
Nah.
want to do too much.
Mm,
And I'll give you an example. Things like schoolwear shop. It
yes.
requires you to operate over the weekend, and people are not willing to give up their nice time over the
Mm,
weekend. You know,
It's so
and
sad.
a branding business, people always come to you on the last minute.
Ish, with few minutes remaining.
Yes, you have to
You have to do
design.
magic.
Yeah, you have to do magic. You need to put together a design team, so things like that.
Mm,
Unfortunately, our own people are not willing to compromise, their social life. There's a few that is willing to do that, and then to get hold of that few, it's a mission.
Not so easy. You know what you're saying, Clifton, is so powerful. And I remember, I think it was DJ Zintle. I don't know if you know her on social
Yeah.
media recently. She put out a post talking about, I think she's got a couple of businesses. She put out a post talking about how difficult it is, to employ people and the unemployability sometimes of us as South Africans. And she got a lot of backlash. And you know what? I did not want to hop on that conversation, but I wanted to at the same time because there's truth to it. Because sometimes people are unemployed, but the willingness to work, maybe they want the money, yes, that comes with the employment, but putting in the effort to I don't know, it's maximum is sometimes really
That's
challenging.
yeah, that's the truth. People are not looking for jobs.
Looking
Some
for
people are
money.
looking for money.
They don't understand that money follows hard work. Like literally,
you, you
money
know,
will follow hard work. That's just a
and
principle of life.
remember, if you're a hard worker, eventually you'll own your own business.
You will. In fact, the business will be chasing you. If you just
Yes,
focus on the hard work, you stop chasing behind
yes.
business. It comes because it's a principle of life.
It's like being a plumber. If you
Mm.
do good plumbing work, everybody will be looking for you. If you are a good electrician, everybody
Mm.
wants a good electrician.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the trouble is you can open as many stores as possible, but
Hmm.
people are not ready. And
Yeah.
people think they are ready.
Ne.
If I can take you back, in the olden days,
Hmm.
when you finished your diploma at a technicon, we used to have what we called an in-service training.
Yes.
When you finished your N6 or your N3 at a
Hmm.
technical college, a FET college,
Hmm.
you used to recommend 18 months
18 months.
experience
Mm.
to complete your diploma
Yeah.
because the system had to make sure that you know what you're doing.
Mm.
But
Mm.
today people qualify online, and they become experts in social media. So
Mm.
if you start saying things like that, people become upset because they
Mm.
want easy money. So in,
Yeah.
in the previous time, before you could write your trade test, with motor Fontaine,
Mm.
you need to have 4 years experience.
Yeah. Ne.
So but people are not willing to trial now. People
Mm.
wants to get into the job today, tomorrow he becomes a manager, and tomorrow he gets another promotion, things
Correct.
like that. So there's very few people that are willing to put an effort to say, look, let me go and be an understudy, somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I think that is really powerful, and it's something that we truly struggle with. And I think I want to link that conversation with the next question that says, would you then say there are plenty of opportunities out there? Like, would you confidently say it now today to say there's no lack of opportunity out there? When someone says, "Hi, Clifton, there's no opportunities. We are struggling with opportunities." How would you respond to that?
Okay. If somebody says there's no opportunities, how
Mhm.
come a foreigner that come from Mozambique or Zimbabwe with asylum seeking papers
Mm.
buy a welding machine and stand on the corner and start making butlers for all of us?
Mm. That's a powerful one, hey?
That person doesn't have an ID.
Mm.
So it
But they
means
can see an opportunity and they are using it.
that person cannot open a bank account.
Mm.
You know, that
Mhm.
person
Not
cannot have,
trade free,
yes,
the
but he,
documents, the compliance, but the
the
skill is there.
compliance, but he
Mm.
can sit in the corner. There's no township that doesn't have those guys.
Yeah, I know, I
If
know.
that person can sit in the corner and sell veggies to you
Mhm.
with all papers, matric, asylum seeker, with
A
IDs,
master's
passport,
degree.
master's degree, but you depend on this person who doesn't even have a master's degree.
H. Clifton, that's
I
very
don't want to say you that yes, there are no jobs,
interesting.
right? But what is it that we're doing,
Mm.
Tina?
Mm.
So there's a couple of things that we need to do.
Okay.
We need to change the way we think.
Sure.
And we need to appreciate life.
Okay.
And we need to understand that we all have limited time,
True.
in this world to make an effort. We don't have 100 years in front of us. We all have limited time. And then we need to understand that if I don't make a difference, it means my kids will have to start from scratch. So you're not going to have anything to hand over to your kids.
Yeah, true, so true.
And that's where the trouble starts. When you look at other nationalities, they've got businesses to hand over to their kids. But more especially in Myanmar, we complain too much about everything. We complain about everything.
We're just busy complaining, and yet we could be changing the way we're thinking. And I think it's so powerful what you're bringing in, because perspective is perspective. I always say, if your perspective is right, you might have just won whatever fight you're getting into already before you start. If you've got the right perspective, getting into business, getting into starting something for yourself, doing something with your life. Once your perspective is positive and focused and determined to push, you've already won half the battle.
Exactly.
And whatever you then going to touch and do, it will give back to you. And I think, true, we do need to change the way we are thinking. Clifton, I want to as we go towards wrapping up, to give you an opportunity to talk to us about, what advice would you give to someone who's also, start thinking of starting this kind of business, thinking of starting any kind of a business, or in the manufacturing sector? What powerful advice would you give to them to keep in mind, to be aware of as they get into the space?
Okay, I think we all have to set our priorities right. Every family needs a business.
Okay.
Yes, each and every family needs a side hustle.
Yeah.
And then the reason why I'm saying that is that sometimes you might be working for a radio station, but what if things go sour tomorrow?
Don't have a fallback plan.
You don't have, yes. So I'll encourage people to start their own businesses, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's manufacturing, but start something small that you can be able to run from your own pocket, so that you don't come and complain and say, but I can't find funding. I can't find this and that. Start something very small. If you need to sell veggies, sell veggies. I can tell you that is going to teach you a lot of things. If you need to sell cosmetics, sell cosmetics. But at least sell something to somebody. I'll give you an example. You've got, let's say, Ekomani.
Yes.
Understand? I'm sure it's a big area. There's a lot of people that are living there. There's a lot of schools that are there. And then all those schools, they need to be serviced by somebody.
True.
So the trouble with us is you'll find Uguti, we still depend on other races, to feed us, to employ us. Why is it like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is a good question.
I mean, if I'm Clifton, I always have this belief that I cannot go to varsity, study up to the level of an honors degree, and not be able to have a side hustle. It's impossible. No, because remember, most of the people at the age of 45, 50, 55, they're tired of working.
Yeah.
Office politics.
The toxic space.
Yes. You get to a point whereby Antafun Pangel attitude. But what are you going to do? And then I can tell you, a lot of us, when we reach 45, Asafun Pangel.
Okay.
Understand? But
in fact.
Yeah, you want to run your own small thing. But because you've never done anything.
You've been, why not to start earlier then?
Yeah, no, look, you've been a groovist since you don't want to do anything, you're playing with money, understand that? There's a whole lot of things that people can do. You can go to your near school and say to them, look, give me an opportunity to do a school uniform.
Yeah.
Understand? And, you know, they will start you with small things. You can go to a crash there. Can I make you uniforms? I can tell you, 80% of the people there in your area in Komani, they come to Joburg to look for things.
Yeah, it's true. And Durban.
Yes. So we need to change that narrative. Let's do things for ourselves.
Wow.
I know it's not easy. And for somebody who's sitting in an office, who's got a PA, who's got everything, it's fine. But I can tell you, as long as we don't do things ourselves, you know, we will always be in trouble. Because it means you have to depend on the next person.
All the time.
You know, so there is business out there.
Yeah.
There is a lot of business. The trouble is,
Yes, Clifton, we need to change our minds when it comes to that and be so open to going out there and doing things for ourselves. You know what I usually even think with this thing of, you know, high unemployment rate, when it comes to the manufacturing industry or industries where we focus on producing things ourselves. I mean, those are the kind of things that would even reduce the numbers, you know, and reduce importing things from outside all the time. But the more we are able to produce locally, like that local production, the more it's pushed, obviously it contributes to the economy, it contributes to job creation, it contributes to the fact that if those businesses are owned by, you know, previously disadvantaged people, there's change, there's like a trend of change that enters our communities. It's really a beautiful thing. I think what you are saying is really driving us to something that we could start focusing on and thinking about and even implementing so that we see the change that we are always, you know, demanding all the time.
You've got public hospitals there.
Yes.
Those public hospitals, they use linen every day. Linen.
I don't know. I have no idea. Okay.
You know, the linen for the whole of South Africa. Yebo. The linen for the whole of South Africa. It comes from there. But you'll find people there are battling.
Ne?
There's no hospital that can operate without linen.
They can't. True.
You know, you can't even do nothing. And that linen, it's you know, it's bed linen, pajama, it's everything. So we can't have a situation whereby you look at Tanzania, we don't even have a smaller firm that is making those pillowcases for the hospital.
Yeah. Clifton, you're touching dangerous waters. You know, but where is actually what you're talking about, you know, because how do things like that even happen, really?
How do things like that happen? You'll find the same hospitals there that are battling with linen, but you know, the fabric is made here.
Right there. Yeah.
And then what is it that is difficult to make a pillowcase or a linen bed? You know, you don't even need a rocket scientist. Even somebody who has standard 5, you need grade 7 in the States.
Yes,
and be able to do that. You know, it's just a straight machine.
It is.
Yeah, you don't need somebody with a research background. No. And then it's things that we need to try and force them into our curriculum.
Yes, ne?
In the olden days, they used to have needlework.
Yes, true.
So these days, we need to introduce things like that, handworks, you know, to say, let's teach our own people to sew garments. As part of the curriculum.
Skill. Yeah, the skill is necessary. Yeah.
So that umuntu makafika go grade 10, he's got an option. He would look, I can become, I mean, you guys there in Eastern Cape, you've got a beautiful brand there, Matos.
Yes.
Understand? I mean, things like that. So why can't we have smaller factories that can be able to do those things?
Yeah. We need to do something about it.
Embroidery machines. Why can't we have abantu abamnyama abaningi that buys those type of machines? Why can't you guys formulate something with the DTI to form cooperatives? In Joburg, we used to have close to 400 cooperatives. zokuthunga, abogogo.
Wow.
You know, I used to train them to make jerseys.
Ne?
Yes.
Wow.
You know, so there's nothing that is not possible. You know, everything is possible. After our discussion, I'm going to send you other pamphlets for people that you guys can approach to come to Eastern Cape so that they can teach people basic sewing skills.
Okay.
Yes, so that if there's people that can group themselves into numbers, you know, they can talk to them. So there is a whole lot of opportunities there. But unfortunately, it needs somebody who's willing to work an extra time.
Sure.
It needs somebody who doesn't get satisfied by getting a pay slip, you know, from a particular company. You know, I cannot be happy to say I'm earning 100K, but I cannot employ anybody. No. I must be able to unlock opportunities for other people.
True. Very much true.
And then in that sense, we can be able to grow as a society. Yes.
True.
So we need to bring the mentality of doing things for ourselves.
Yeah. Doing it ourselves, doing things for ourselves.
We have to fight.
Yeah, it is. It is very necessary, actually. And you know what? We could be continuing this conversation for a whole lot longer, but unfortunately, we are almost out. In fact, we are already out of time. I think you have really enlightened us, and I guess anyone who's listening would be able to say, you know what? Maybe there's something I can start to do something for my own self. I can start to
let me throw the last thing. There's a guy in Katlehong who introduced a driver's license to the school to say each and every child that passes matric in the school, he must pass a matric with a driver's license.
Wow, that's beautiful.
As part of the curriculum. So why can't we do with plumbing, with electricity, you know, with sewing?
Yeah.
To say, to matric lapa, he needs to finish his matric with the basic understanding of those fields, like any other countries.
Yeah. Interesting and powerful at the same time. Clifton, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much,
make this conversation with us. Before I let you go, where do we find you in case someone is listening and thinking, you know what, I can link up with Clifton and start my own small outlet or start producing, learn from Clifton. How do we find Earlyworx?
Okay, my email is sales@Earlyworx.
Yes.
Earlyworx is EARLYWORX. RX.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sales at Earlyworx.co.za. All right. Thank you so much, Clifton. It has been quite a powerful conversation.
Thank you, ma'am. Sure.
Thank you.